Again is to provoke the debate, and in the same way that we have a video from Vinton Cerf this morning, the father of internet. We asked Oriol Boigas, that in fact has been the father of the Barcelona model, an architect that somehow is the responsible of the vision behind all the major transformation that had Barcelona during the Olympic Games. So we asked him, that is not a techie person at all, the same question that we are asking to you, what city protocol should be doing, and this is what he said.
Però em sembla que, dit així d'una manera una mica abstracta, el que caldria dir és que seria molt útil aquesta situació de City Protocol per donar les dues coses. Quins són els elements que són fonamentals per la qualitat d'una ciutat, tant en termes generals com en termes particulars de cada una ciutat, i segona, que també em sembla molt important, quins són els medis per valorar-ho. Perquè jo crec que un dels problemes que té l'urbanisme és que hi ha molta gent que al mateix barri d'una ciutat hi ha una gent que diu mira que és bonic aquest barri tan antic i tan tronat i tan esquerdat, i un altre que arriba i diu mira aquest barri quin fàstic que fa que no hi ha ni vàters ni banyeres enlloc, i un altre que arriba i diu home, aquí amb una mica de modificació ho podríem fer per millorar la qualitat física, la qualitat intel·lectual, la qualitat de la convivència i de la identitat. I jo crec que això, si es pogués arribar a una petita síntesi qualificadora de dir quan passen aquestes coses el barri ha fet una millora, quins són els índexs que s'han de valorar, sobretot veient la ciutat des de punts de vista diversos i simultanis, com és la ciutat com a obra d'art i la ciutat com a lloc per viure urgentment la gent que no té vivenda. Són dues maneres contraposades de veure, però la ciutat s'ha de veure simultàniament amb aquests dos aspectes. Jo sembla que si hi hagués un sistema i un mètode per fer la llista de les necessitats reals del benestar en una ciutat i els medis per valorar-ho, per quantificar-ho exactament, seria un pas molt endavant, i com tots els passos es fan en mesura petita, vull dir que començar investigant en aquest camí, jo crec que en el cas concret de Barcelona, per exemple, seria un pas qualitatiu molt bo.
So, the question is, we're talking why, but the question is what? What should the city protocol produce? Sorry, I should use, yeah, okay. And this is something Manuel San Román explained very well. City protocol should produce agreements. And in fact, we'll be talking tomorrow about this, is how we can do these agreements. But the basic idea is that we want to follow the same system that the people from internet is using. That means that if there are 15 people from cities, universities, and organizations that set up a debate, organize a debate, mostly in internet through a forum, and they agree that a good way to do this thing is like this, that means that the city protocol, the people behind the city protocol, we could agree that we want to do these kind of things in our city in this way. For example, if we set up a debate, and this is something maybe you will be discussing today, how we can implement what we said this morning, this car sharing system in cities. And 15 people are making just proposals about how to do it, and we decide with some people, with a raw consensus, some consensus of people that are relevant, that this is what we want to do, then we will have one reference that obviously those that want to be using city protocol could apply. So the question, what is relevant, again, is that this is not an abstract discussion. We are running cities. I am the chief architect of Barcelona, but also we are taking decisions of where we'll be investing 1.5 billion euros in the next 3 years. So that means that I am sure that there are many other cities here. We have 33 representatives from cities that also they have a budget, some initiatives, some real projects that are going to transform some specific areas in their cities. The question is this: if some cities we agree that we want to follow some rules, some agreements, some standards about how we want to transform our city, this will be a standard de facto. And Artur Serra, that is over there, he told me before, internet starts with 4 nodes. So that means if 4 cities agree, hey, let's decide that in the historical center we'll be only allowing cars, electrical cars entering in the year 2015, this will be a great rule, and we'll be using the knowledge about how to do it, the limits, the car, whatever, in order that this really happens. So what we would like to do are very practical agreements in order to try to develop our city. And these agreements can be, Anil Menon explained very well today, that these can be related with something related with technologies that we are going to apply, with some standards, with some rules, with some projects that we want to develop. Today was an interesting discussion about what means a standard. And we were thinking, because here in the cities, we have many rules. But you know that those rules become standards, and in general, the rules that we have are these, are regulations. In our city, in general, we are making laws by defining the lower level. For example, the minimum size of a room in a housing, in an apartment should be this. The minimum speed of internet in the street should be this. The sound that on a street, the movement of a car with the asphalt should be is like this. So that means that we are defining some kind of limits in the lower level. And if you pass this line, we make a note. This is a punish system. You are out of the law. So this is the traditional law. The law never gives you an award. Say what is the minimum, and if you are out of the law, you are out of the law. Okay, benchmarking is another strategy. We say the average, let's say, is this. And let's try to compare cities, or let's try to compare buildings, or let's try to compare whatever. And obviously, this is something that is happening that, from my point of view, is not relevant at all for citizens. Citizens in Barcelona, they are not interested if they use more water or less water than any other city in the world. Their life will not change with this. You understand? But this is something that is good in order to have an overall view of what we are thinking about. I think that now we are moving from our of regulations to our of indicators, to our what we want to define is, hey, this is the goal. This is the vision. We would like to be there. Let's try to see how far we are there. But let's try to see how we can improve by doing which kind of projects in order to do what. What I think that is relevant is that not all the cities are the same. And in many cases, what is fake, from my point of view, from many indicators, is that they trade the cities, the buildings, wherever in the same level. And then for some of them are really very difficult to be there. So some standards that are not related with the physical reality of their environment sometimes are not defining things in the right way. For example, let's think about people. We can imagine that if you want to be the champion of 100 meters in the Olympic Games, you will be training yourself, you will be strong, you will be doing athletics, and then this will be great. He won, that's fantastic. But maybe there are some other people that want to win the Nobel Prize on chemics, and he will be working all the time doing this. His muscles are not very good. In the rating system of running is very low, but at the end, he's fantastic. So what is interesting about the indicator system that we have today is that they think that they should be whatever, the greener, whatever, or the more smarter, or whatever, but in fact are not allowing people, cities, buildings to decide what to want to be. And from that point of view, we would like to set up a system and a structure in order let's say, to define what is good and what is not good, but then to allow the people to decide, I want to work, the people, I mean the cities, to decide, I want to go in that direction or I want to go in that direction. So another crucial question. Imagine that one organization say, okay, let's make an indicator system. It's great. We give you a gold or a platinum or whatever. In order to do this, maybe you need to send some money to pay these indicators or whatever to some organization, what is curious, no? This main market, I mean, we saw what happened with banks in the moment that they were saying AAA, but some of those fell, no? So in many cases, the way we organize indicators are strange because you can say, okay, you are 20% on your hair rate, you are 20% of your whatever, and at the end you are 20% quite good, but then you die. Why? Because the average in some moment is not relevant. What is relevant somehow is the aggregation and the overall situation. And another crucial question is that we, as cities, we can decide that, for example, buildings that are producing all the energy that they need, we give an award. We pay less taxes. We do whatever. And this is something only cities can decide. This is very relevant because if cities we don't accept, or let's say in the other way around, if we say, okay, that's great, we need to have a minimum regulations, but we should have some high level of standards, then we can manage our territory by giving awards instead to, let's say, punishing people and organizations. I would like also to explain something that if we want to measure whatever, then we should have some city protocol principles. Obviously, we can define some areas of working that is exactly internet is working, is people inside some areas deciding some questions. And in our case, the interesting thing is that we could be looking for many parameters. We can set up indicators. We can see indexes or whatever. And at the end, we could have or not some certifications. It's curious, but maybe in 10 years, in order to get money from a bank, a city like Barcelona, taking money from the World Bank, we'll follow some indicators. And the question is, who is deciding these indicators? But in any case, every time that we are here, we reduce the amount of information. And here, we are able to study in a deeper way many things. So from our point of view, what, in fact, I would like to do is to work more here and here in order to go deeper in specific projects more than trying to be focused on qualifications or certifications. But this is something we can decide. So the question is, if we make agreements as CPAs, we can do on vertical and transversal subjects, we can generate those standards and recommendations that we said before. We can develop and we can agree about projects and policies we saw before, and we can work on indicators and certifications. So a potential way to work, and this is only a framework, is an idea where Manuel explained very well. This is exactly as internet works. Is people are organized by areas. Inside areas, there are discussion groups. Tomorrow will explain, but they have 6 months in order to discuss about a subject, and they finally take an agreement or not. And this agreement could be recommendation, standard, or whatever. But the idea is, and this is important, which kind of things we want to agree. This is, in fact, what is relevant. Obviously, we can discuss about specific things, about water, about energy, about mobility, about whatever. Or we can have a group of people working on indicators, projects, policies, etc. This drawing is just to be discussed, a request for comment, and based on that, obviously, we can decode whatever we want. We make this drawing because when we arrived to the city, Barcelona, we have at least 20 companies came to us and saying, we are a smart city, Barcelona. And there are inside the city administration 10 teams saying, we are a smart city, Barcelona. It's curious. And then we say, okay, tell me what you do. And someone say, okay, you know, we are doing energy. And we say, that's great. You are working here, but do you do anything with citizens or with water cycle? No. Okay. It's great that you work here, but there are many other ways to look at the reality. In fact, for example, the European Union decided that the smart city in Europe will be information, energy, and mobility. Great, fantastic. But when we say, okay, it's too vague and too open what we are discussing, in fact, what I think is serious is try to have an overall picture of what is a city. And this is important that we discuss. There are people say, we are working here, we are working with the citizens. Okay, that's great. But to have an overall vision about what is a city is crucial in order to be able to take decisions. You saw Binton Cerf and Oriol Boigas, both they say, okay, you can have a great vision, but do specific things. And this is exactly what we would like to do. What we would like is to set up some discussion groups based on some specific areas. These areas, and these depend on the energy we want to put on the table. This can be on some specific things that we obviously could be discussing, or we can decide that we want to have a group in order to discuss about the name, the logo, the whatever, and another group in order to discuss about projects and policies. This is something that after the discussion of today, we could start to discuss if we are able to have an agreement. But that means that what we would like, again, remember the drawing. We are working on the city of Barcelona. The day after tomorrow, I will be dealing with the problem that we have in order how to open a street, how to decide if we allow electrical cars to park here or there, if we make the orthogonal grid, if we allow the platform that someone wants to sell us. I mean, there are many, many specific things that we are doing. And I'm sure that the people from different cities, they have also those specific problems. We would like to spend some of our time working with people, mostly in digital ways, and sometimes meeting twice per year or something like this, in order to decide agreements. We would like the citizens of Barcelona say, hey guys, we are discussing with other cities which is the best way to do this. It's not about a mayor saying, we will do the better and the bigger whatever in the world. And at the end, sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not good. We would like to work in this kind of quiet and rational way in order to generate some consensus about what is good and what is not bad. And our idea, let's say, our thoughts is that we would like, after the work we can do together, to take some of the decisions we take and we implement in the city of Barcelona. So that's all. The discussion is about what kind of things should contain the city protocol. If we want to discuss about projects, certifications, standards, or whatever, which kind of areas we would like to work. If we want to have many, many groups of people, or we want to have only 2 groups of people, we imagine that we would like to have an overall vision on cities, and we have people in our organization dealing with green areas, other people dealing with mobility. We have Manuel Valdez working with resilience. We have people working with many things. Many cities have many people working in many things. Many cities are going to invest a lot of money in their cities in order to transform and to upgrade. And if we are able to have some consensus about what are better and solutions, I think we can save money, we can speed our transformation, and we want to do this in a very specific and direct way. Thank you, that's all.
I hope this will make it a little bit more clear, but it will become more clear as we talk to each other about the subject. So there's again a number of breakouts, the same breakouts, go to the same breakout. There's a little bit of change of process, but you will know because the facilitators will explain it to you. And we will have a discussion, let's say in 3 minutes. We just had lunch, so we can go immediately to the breakouts and grab a coffee a little bit later in the process. We have a discussion period of time for 1.5 hours. So I think it's really important that we use the time, that we challenge each other, and that we try to get as much as clarity on what the city protocol should have and should deliver. Please go, let the music go.